Good morning. I want to continue with our background for the courts of heaven. I'm going to look at some passages in Job today. I want us just to see how this idea of God as the judge and the courts and all this is so ancient. And I'm also going to read a little bit from some ancient literature of Mesopotamia, which is very revealing. Okay, so Job, scholars vary on when this was written, by whom it was written. All we know is this book of Job. He's a man that lived in the land of, in the Hebrew it's pronounced Uz. We say Uz probably in English, but he, the scholars that I read, this commentary that I read, Kiel and Delitzsch, these German guys, anyway, they're very conservative scholars. They say Job. They think Job was from the Solomonic period, King Solomon, and in the Hebrew scriptures, it's placed in the writings section. It's not in the prophetic literature. It's not in the historical literature. It's with the Psalms. They even put the book of Daniel in the Ketuvim. I forget how you pronounce that in Hebrew. The writings section. Esther is in there, Nehemiah, Ezra, although we think of those as historical, but it's not according to the Hebrew mind when they put the canon together, the Hebrew scriptures together. Anyway, Job is put in the class of a writing, and Ecclesiastics and Proverbs are in there. And these guys and a lot of scholars see so much similarities to this poetry, because Job is it's really a poetic. It's verse. It's an epic like thing, So they put it in. They see similarities in Ecclesiastes, and there are, in the book of Job, and to Solomon's the Proverbs and etc. Anyway, because of especially because of those last chapters where God is revealing who He is, and there's so many similarities in Ecclesiastes and Proverbs, but. I want to just read some passages from Job that just a real quick show you how many times the words for this courtroom kind of language is found in Job. I wrote them out here. Let me see if I can go through them real quick. In 7:21, why do you not pardon my transgression? 8:3, does God subvert judgment, pervert justice? If his sons sin, he has cast away their transgressions. All this, I'm just, again, courtroom language. 9:1, how can a man be righteous before God? If one wished to contend with him. 9:15 and 16, I would beg mercy of my judge. If I called and he answered me, I would not believe he was listening to my voice. There's the judge. 9:24, he covers the faces of its judges. He's talking about the earth. Judges. 9:32. He is not man that we should go to court together, nor is there any mediator between us. I think that's a familiar verse. He is not a man that we should go to court together, nor is there any mediator between us. There's court and mediator. 10:2 says, show me why you contend with me. Contend. That's a courtroom word. 10:3 says, you shall smile on the counsel of the wicked. Counsel. Okay, chapter 10, verse 14, you will not acquit me of my iniquity. Chapter 13, verse 18, I have prepared my case, and I will be vindicated. Who will contend with me? 14:3 says, do you bring me to judgment with yourself? 15:6, your own mouth condemns you and testifies against you. This is Eliphaz talking to Job. 16:8, something that's shriveled in condition, I can't remember what that was, bears witness against Job. Witness, there it is. 16:17, there's no violence in my hands. Job is defending himself. 16, verse 18 and 19, O earth, don't cover my blood. My witness is in heaven, my evidence on high. Boy, that's the courtroom. 16:21 says, oh, that one might plead for a man with God. the pleading. We already looked at that's one of the meanings of the Hebrew. One of the Hebrew words for judgment is, or judge, is to plead. And then we know this more too is in chapter 40, verses 2 and 8. God says, would you contend with the Almighty? And verse 8 says, would you indeed annul my judgment? Would you condemn me that you may be justified? When God finally shows up, and he uses these courtroom words also. So that's all interesting. Now I want to read you something from the creation epic, the Akkadian creation epic, which Akkadia was ancient Babylon. And I just want you to see some of these phrases in here, and because, you know, when Satan, when that fallen angel we call Satan, you know, left, he was kicked. He led a third of the angels with him. He was kicked out of heaven, right? Set up his kingdom in the lower heaven, and he started influencing men. What happened was, you see in these ancient religions the very mirror image of what was going on in heaven, what Satan already knew from the true God, the courts of heaven, the council of heaven. It shows up in these pagan religions. Okay, so this is the creation epic that comes out of ancient Babylon. This is what they believe happened in creation and how their gods are set up. Okay, let's see. The great gods took their seats. The 7 gods of destiny set up the 300 in heaven. I'm just going to read some random. Anu spoke up in the assembly of the gods. We looked in the behind the scenes series that I did in Psalm 82. There's this assembly of gods. That's God's assembly, the sons of God. The angels who are called the sons of God around the throne of God, our God. But here we've got ancient Babylonian religion saying Anu, which is one of their gods, spoke up in the assembly of the gods. Anu seated it in the assembly of the gods when the great gods had assembled. Okay, here's another line. When he speaks, the gods shall pay heed to him. Let his utterance be supreme above and below. Most exalted be the Son, our avenger. Now, so there's also a son of God in these ancient religions, right? May he shepherd the black-headed ones, his creatures. All this language. That's enough right there. I mean, I could go on and on. There's just so many parallels. Because Satan only mimics what he saw in heaven. But what he saw was this assembly, was these courts, right, in heaven. There's just more proof, even in pagan religions. This is ancient. It's a whole book. I've got a couple of these about ancient religions. You can find the truths of the Word of God that Satan has tried to mimic. So anyway, that's enough for today. More later.